When I was moving to Norway in November 2021, I was super excited to be in one of the happiest countries in the world. I was thrilled just by looking at those beautiful sceneries from Norway and the bright and the beautiful Oslo cities. But reality hit hard when I actually landed in Oslo. The weather was very dark and gloomy, and those bright and beautiful Oslo cities were nowhere to be seen. I started taking vitamin D from the next day to compensate for the lack of vitamin D in my body due to lack of sunlight. I slowly began to realize that without being fluent in the language, I basically could not do anything here. Some people think that their life is set after getting a visa because they have seen the image shared on social media, which only shows the brightest part of studying abroad but do not clearly reflect the other side. Very few people are aware of the challenges that lie ahead. So, in today's video, I really want to make you aware of the challenges you might face in the future when you are studying abroad. My intention is not to demotivate you to study abroad, but to mentally prepare you for all the challenges lying ahead. Now let's talk about those challenges. The first challenge is education system. Coming from Asia or Africa, it is very likely that you will notice a huge difference in education system while studying abroad. There's more casework and group work, and the classroom environment tends to involve more discussion. I have found it's very difficult for introvert students who do not speak much to engage in these discussions. In some courses, your professor might grade you on basis of your participation in classroom discussion. Students actually learn more than just passing exam. It is not like studying for a month or 2 weeks before the exam and passing it. There is always continuous evaluation, and you have to perform well in each evaluations. The final exam might not even account for 20% of the total grade, or you may not even have a final exam. So the education system abroad actually forces students to work hard throughout the year, which can be challenging if you have the habit of studying only during the last hour before the exam. Another thing is that education system abroad is very research based. They focus more on research, and most courses are designed to encourage students to do more research on what they are studying. If you do not have much experience in research, you should really start putting effort into it if you want to study abroad. Another major challenge is finding a part-time job. In the initial days, you may have some money you bought from your home country, but soon you will run out of funds. Especially if you are living outside of the capital city, it is hard to find a part-time job. One of the most difficult aspects regarding part-time job is that regardless of your experience back home, you might have to accept any kind of work to finance your study. I had a friend who had 10 years of experience working in a bank in one of the South Asian countries, but he could not find anything relevant to his experience in Norway and was forced to take waiter job. I understand that we should not discriminate against any type of work, and I do not discriminate as well. Regardless of your previous experience, yourself working as a waiter after having worked in bank for 10 years. However, this situation typically lasts only while you are a student, so it's a transitional period where you may have to take any kind of job. I'm not saying everyone will face this, but you really have to be mentally prepared for such situations as well. Even in capital cities, it has become increasingly challenging to find part-time jobs. A recent example I have seen is from Finland, Helsinki. Many international students are posting in various Facebook groups asking for help to find part-time jobs, even in Helsinki. So, wherever you are going, you have to be mentally prepared for two things. It may take some time to find a job, and you may have to accept any kind of job that is available to you. There is a bitter truth that many of us studying abroad have faced exploitation from within our own community. Especially when it comes to work, business run by Asian bosses often seek cheap labor and pay less than normal wages. When I mention the Asian community, I'm not blaming every individual, but rather highlighting a trend within our Asian communities. They may portray themselves as supportive and claim that you are like a family, but ultimately they exploit you. Delayed salaries, low pay, and workplace exploitation are commonly observed in businesses owned by Asian bosses. I especially mention Asian bosses because we are more likely to fall victim due to our trust in our own people, which they take advantage of. If you try to speak out against exploitation, they may threaten you to cancel your visa or fire you from the job. My suggestion here is to always know your right and not to trust anyone blindly, whether they are from your own country or native citizens. Another major major challenge for international students is keeping up with immigration policies. At times, I feel like my sole goal in life is to understand Norwegian immigration policy and please the immigration officers. Whatever you want to do, the first thing you need to consider is, does the immigration policy allow me to do this? When you are struggling academically, you won't just worry about the education and career, but also about visa renewal for next year. In some countries, you must present your grade to renew your visa. For example, in many European countries, you don't typically get a visa for 5 or more years, as you might in the US or in Canada. In many European countries, you must meet financial and academic requirements annually and renew your visa each year. Without a proper job or financial stability, you may be forced to abandon your studies and return to your home country. Managing tuition fees and living expenses solely from a part-time job is nearly impossible. Also, some European countries require you to have passed certain credits for your course in the first year to renew your visa for the next year. When going abroad, we often overlook this aspect. We may think that paying fees for the first year is sufficient, but we neglect planning for the subsequent years. Sometimes we even lose track of our career and education due to the necessity of renewing of our visa and obtaining a work permit. Many students abandon their educational background because they lack time to find a job relevant to their field of study. The pressure from immigration policies force them to take jobs unrelated to their background. Adhering to immigration policy from student visa to settling abroad is highly challenging. You constantly feel monitored as if you always have to please some authority. This can be very draining. Additionally, the long processing time for visa poses another problem for international students. Regardless of where we are in the world, I would say almost 80% of us have experienced situations where we do not receive prompt response from immigration offices. This can be extremely frustrating. I witnessed cases in Norway where people have waited over 18 months for their partner's visa. Just imagine being in that situation. Always familiarize yourself with immigration rules and plan ahead accordingly. If you find this video helpful, please do subscribe to this channel, like and share the video. I would really appreciate this. Now, let's talk about the cultural difference. I think this is highly overlooked topic when it comes to studying abroad, but cultural difference can significantly impact your life abroad. Even small gestures like greeting people can vary greatly between countries, and failing to adhere to local customs can lead to awkward situations. For example, in Norway, teachers are called by the first name. Addressing teachers as sir or madam is not in practice at all. So initially, it was difficult for me to use their first name, and it made it very difficult for me to communicate with my teachers. Another aspect I have noticed is that the relationships are more formal here. Even for a casual coffee chat with a friend, I have to plan it a month in advance. Back in my home country, I had very close bond with my friends and their parents, and I could just drop by their house anytime I want. However, it is different here, and we do not experience that same closeness with our friends. Discussing cultural difference, food is also a significant factor. If you have only eaten certain type of food throughout your life, adjusting to new cuisines can be difficult. It is not just about different dishes. Even basic ingredients like tomato paste, potatoes, meats, they all are different compared to our home countries. Furthermore, if you do not have a habit of cooking, you'll need to adapt to prepare a few dishes by yourself, which can take some time to get used to. We often talk extensively about the weather and frequently complain about it. People residing in Canada and Northern Europe complain about the cold winters, while those in Australia complain about heat waves. Personally, snow and cold weren't that major issue for me. Primary concern was sunlight. Initially, the idea of Norway's 6 months of day and 6 months of darkness sounded exciting to me. However, seeing friends enjoying the beach in Australia during summer made me envious. Yet, when experiencing it firsthand, the novelty wears off quickly. When days are short, the body lacks vitamin D, leading to both physical and mental health problems. Drawing from my own experience, during my initial days, I would get stressed over minor matters without realizing it was due to the weather patterns. Weather can significantly impact both physical and mental well-being, so thorough research is crucial here. I don't intend to alarm you, but I have witnessed people from warm places like southern India moving to cold regions like northern Europe and Canada. They were unaware of their cold allergy since they had lived in warmer climates during their entire life. Various issues arose when they started living in colder places. There is always a risk when you're unsure about how your body reacts to certain weather patterns. One thing that has worked well for me personally to deal with winter in Norway is to engage in winter activities. Going outside instead of just staying at home and saying, oh, it's too cold to go outside, or it's snowing, I don't want to go out, or something like that. Okay, I'm done with my education. What next? This is the biggest question you face after completing your studies. If your aim is solely to study abroad and return to your home country, then you won't struggle with this as much. However, the majority of us have planned to settle down in abroad. Even before completing your studies, you should start thinking about how to extend your stay, how to find a job, how to obtain work permit, and all those things. Immediately after completing your studies, some of us already have a job lined up. However, the majority of us do not have such chance, and we are left in a situation where we have limited time to secure employment. Finding a job and obtaining a work permit is crucial if you want to extend your stay, and this can be very stressful if you do not manage to secure employment. Some people even consider moving to a different country, which comes with its own set of challenges. Some individuals pursue multiple master's degrees just to extend their stay. However, not all countries' immigration policy allows you to do so. So if you do not have both plan A and plan B after completing your studies, there's a big question mark awaiting your head. Yes, I have been discussing a lot about challenges of studying abroad, but my goal here is to raise awareness about this situation so that you have ample of time and preparation to address them. My intention is not to demotivate anyone, but to ensure everyone is aware of the challenges that come along with studying abroad. I hope to see you in next video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and take care. Bye bye.